Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa has acknowledged that Johannesburg is falling apart, saying he shares residents' concerns over failing services and infrastructure. Speaking at the City Council after an oversight visit, Ramaphosa reaffirmed the government's commitment to intensifying efforts to address the city's challenges.
I must say that we are committed to ensuring that through cooperation amongst the three spheres of government, we will urgently attend to the challenges. We may well have said so in the past, but the enormity of the challenges and the problem compels us to now say we are going to redouble our efforts.
Joining us for a discussion on this is Sandile Swana, who is a political analyst. Mr. Swana, thank you so much for joining us this evening. You just heard the president say there, that they are going to be intensifying efforts into the city of Johannesburg over its deplorable conditions. And they've said it before, but this time they really mean it. How should residents perceive this renewed energy to revive the city?
Well, thank you so much, Masa. I watched the video presentation of the president and also read the remarks from the public relative to that. First of all, I was shocked. At the time that I checked, there were only 13, and all of them were negative. So there is, it appears to me that the public has no confidence in what the president, the mayor, and the premier are saying in terms of rejuvenating the city of Johannesburg.
And it seems that the president is also aware that the residents don't really have that much confidence, because he's acknowledging and admitting that we've said this before, but this time we really mean it. What is the big difference this time, Mr. Swana? We've got the G20 happening throughout the year till November as well. And although he does say that these intensified efforts are not because of the G20, it is kind of because of the G20. If we're thinking of the comments that were made by the Joburg mayor, he did say that he was kind of misunderstood, or he misspoke when he said that they were prioritizing routes of the G20.
Yes, you know, if you'll indulge me, when you look at President Ramaphosa, Panyaza Lesufi, and Dada Morero, the three gentlemen that are spearheading this whole initiative, I would compare them to a son coming to his parents and after having failed matric 6 times, coming for the 7th time and asking to be given an opportunity again to attempt and promising to get a first-class pass. So I think we do need to be aware that people really, South Africans need to commit this matter to prayer. We need divine intervention. I think it's hard to think of, other than in Africa as a whole, where people can sustain mediocrity and failure for such a long time. The city of Joburg, unfortunately, started deteriorating already around 1993. You already saw places like Joburg Park, Berea, Hillbrow, Yeoville, starting to go down. It went across to Windsor, where people now are starting to hijack buildings and doing all sorts of things. And the comrades took over in 1994. They did not arrest the rot of the fabric of the city of Johannesburg. Investors and the private sector that Cyril Ramaphosa often is so boastful about ran away to Four Ways first, and they ran away to Sentin. Now they're in the Mall of Africa, Mall of the South. They've literally run away from the CBD. So I would just request that this matter be committed to prayer. We need divine intervention.
And in addition to that divine intervention as well, when you're making mention of the writings already being on the wall in the 90s already, we are far from nipping this thing in the bud. It's already mushroomed as a problem. The president says every department that has a role to play, whether it be on local, provincial, or national level, will have their hands on deck for this time around. But Mr. Swana, the problem with this is that because the writings have been on the wall and nothing has been done, and there is this trust deficit anyway, what happens after these leaders leave in November? Because much of the focus has to do with the G20, even though they are denying that.
Yes, so Ramaphosa is well known for this thing. When he took over the presidency, he came up with this idea of setting committees, task teams and committees within committees, in opposition to understanding that for the longest time, and I'm a native Johannesburg, I've been around here, this is my 6th decade in this city. The issue is that we've generally, in my experience, had one mayor at a time. Now, because the mayor is so incompetent, together with these MECs, they are so incapable of running this city. Now, Ramaphosa is bringing another support, a set of crutches around them to prop them up in office. Meanwhile, he is being defeated in running the country himself. Panyaza Lissouf is between 6s and 7s. So there is a problem. They could do a sprint and a whitewash exercise and hire quietly behind the scenes a top-notch event management organization, because I believe this is what they do. Their alliance with BUSA Business Unity South Africa, their alliance with Business Leadership South Africa, B4SA, and all such things, is that you see faces. Dada Morero is going to be a face that you see. And then a group of businessmen, engineers, CEOs, MICE experts are going to be doing the work, and the announcements will be doing. So basically, the city of Johannesburg, the city council of Johannesburg, is going to be a Bantustan of big business from this point going forward.
Sure. And speaking of the instability as well, when it comes to the mayoral seat, we've seen that revolving door of mayors. Some have said that the solution here should have been that the president should have placed the city of Johannesburg under administration. What do you say?
Now you will be aware that this president has been in office since 2012. He came in as deputy president. One of the setbacks in the city of Johannesburg, decisive setbacks, was when the DA, Democratic Alliance Political Party, and the African National Congress, ANC, got together to eject Mashaba, who was doing an excellent job in turning the city around. They connived and they removed Mashaba out of office. And it has been downhill over there, mayors dying in office, all sorts of chaos happening around the mayoral office. And Dada Morero himself has, at some point, I think it was 2022, seized office illegally and made the same announcements he's making today that he's going to do this, he even promised to put the city on batteries. Now, coming to this issue that we're facing today, we don't know the legal basis on which Ramaphosa is setting up this structure. I certainly don't know what legal basis you do this, under which legal basis. The district development model, the DDM model, has been there for some time, and it has not produced results in Johannesburg. They have now published for public comment the one plan for the city of Joburg, but the DDM model has not worked. We don't know, have a confirmed or independently audited report that says this mechanism they've deployed now in eThekwini, which they are now deploying again in Johannesburg, has worked anywhere. Lastly, to your point, there are laws under which if you are putting competent people, including the likes of Hlabisa, because basically this is a coup d'etat for Hlabisa, it's a coup d'etat for the provincial government. This thing is being taken over by the president, and there are so many things that have been concentrated in the president's intelligence services, all sorts of things. He's now becoming a mayor, this president. It's a problem of incompetency on top of incompetence.
You know, if you listen to the State of the Province address by the Premier Panyaza Lesufi just a week or so ago, he did paint quite a romantic picture of the province and the plans for the province and the improvements of the province, while also, of course, acknowledging some of the rot in the province too. Is it also a case here, Mr. Swana, that we're seeing that we're just kind of using a mechanism of denial for a very long time and trying to beautify things that are actually pretty ugly if you take a closer look at them?
Yes, there is a viciousness. On the one hand, there is a viciousness whereby a lot of people like yourselves, journalists and analysts like myself, who are being one way or the other cajoled to try and basically people saying, yeah, we've admitted that things are wrong. Why do you emphasize it every day? Why are you talking too much about it? There is that element of harassment that is going on, which would want to persuade most of us to start sugarcoating something that is actually totally and absolutely rotten and has been rotting in the hands of careless, incompetent, and totally uncaring comrades who can live with sewage streaming in the streets of Soweto, all over Mfuleni, in places where water is no longer guaranteed, in places where electricity supply every evening is not guaranteed. They told us they are fixing ESCOM in the street where I live. I'm on the WhatsApp group. The amount of power failures that are being reported daily by the people in the street, it's a problem. The country is in a total chaos, and there is an insistence even by this booster through Adrian Gore, stating that the country is going to achieve 3% GDP growth on short notice, which is totally impossible. And they've achieved 0.6%. To get to that 3% is immediately impossible. So this whole bioscope of what they're trying to whitewash the failures that they've sustained for such a long time, and now they want everybody to be part of this one. This is a whitewash.
Mr. Sandile Swana, thank you so much for your insights this evening. Always a pleasure to speak to you. That is Sandile Swana, who is a political analyst, just talking to us there about that new task force that has been established by the president to intervene in the city of Johannesburg.